Hello everybody, my name is Glenn Flood and this is my Project 3 Info 220 presentation. For this, I actually decided to create a marketing strategy for the CSUN map collection by connecting them with an often overlooked subset of the community, which is the automobile enthusiast community or car clubs. Car clubs generally always use GIS resources, primarily navigation maps. So I thought it'd be a perfect fit for the CSUN map collection because they have a large collection of AAA road maps as well as historical maps of the Los Angeles area. And in the background, you'll see a video of the area that I decided to focus on, which is Angeles Crest Highway in Los Angeles County, and you can see some of the cool views that you get. And this is from one of the car cruises that I had actually created. So for this project, I decided to create a tutorial on how to use Google My Maps to create a route that is easily shareable, and it can also be directly connected to the CSUN map library in that they can actually produce various routes and then fill in the different checkpoints that you'll see later on in the tutorial with different items from their collection. For instance, they can use one checkpoint to show a tourist map or brochure of that area. They can also show how the different historical maps of Angeles Crest and how it actually has changed over time. So with that, we're going to go ahead and stop this video and then go ahead and get into the actual tutorial part. So first thing you want to do is just go ahead and just go onto google.com and then push Google My Maps into your search bar. And then once you do that, these will pop up. So go ahead and click My Maps, and then you'll see this is a map I had already created for the route. Basically what we're going to do is recreate this map itself. So let me go ahead and go back out here, and what we'll do is actually go ahead and click Create New Map. Okay, so when you do this, you're actually going to be presented with a giant map of the entire world. So what I decided to do, being that we're here to promote the CSUN map collection, is we're actually going to go ahead and type in CSUN itself into here, and it'll pop up with the address once we click it. And then we can go ahead and see this is California State Northridge, um, and this is the entire campus right here. So we're going to go ahead and click this little X here, and then the easiest way I found to do this is to go ahead and always name your layers. So for the starting point, we're going to actually go ahead and just name this layer 1, and then you'll see why I do that in a minute. Um, okay, so let's go ahead and click this. Again, click the little checkpoint, and then we'll click Add to Map. Okay, and then you'll see right here it gives you the address, it gives you the website, a phone number, you can check out some reviews. It also gives you the GPS coordinates. And another cool thing that the map collection themselves would actually be able to utilize is they can go ahead and click the add image or video button, which would allow them to go ahead and import their own images or videos for each checkpoint. So now what we're going to want to do is go ahead and figure out our next checkpoint, which being that we want to go ahead and start, this is the entire, whoops, the entire Angeles National Forest. So the main route, which is right here, this is Angeles Crest Highway or Highway 2, that goes across the entire middle of the forest. This is also another route too. So the idea is we want everybody to start from here at the CSUN library and then go all the way into this area here. Now, when you're designing a car cruise, one of the primary things you want to do is pick areas that are both exciting, picturesque, but also safe. You don't want to create a route that's going to involve a lot of rocks, too many turns, and you don't want anybody to be in danger. And another thing that you want to do is be mindful of time. So you you want to try to plan your route so that it can so that everybody can actually see the majority of the things that you want them to see, but it also to be time effective and safe as well. So what I found in planning this route, that the best way to actually start this is to actually go ahead and take Little Tachunga, which is actually sounds like a pretty cool name. So all you're going to want to do is actually go ahead and click add marker, and then we found Little Tachunga here. You can also go to various websites. A lot of people have, say, hey, this canyon road is pretty cool, that canyon road is pretty cool, so you don't have to like automatically know all these things. It's just this is what the route that I'm most familiar with, because having led a whole bunch of car cruises myself, that I just think this is the most efficient way to actually explore Angeles National Forest. So once you go ahead and click add marker, you're going to click right here, and then this would be what I like to do is label this Little Tachunga, whoops, Little Tachunga start. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and click save, and just like before, you'll also get the ability to add images, and you'll get the GPS coordinates. So what we do is go ahead and keep doing that a couple more times. So you go over here, and Placerita Canyon Road is a pretty cool road, but it's heavily populated. This is a mini suburban area, so we kind of don't want to send our group through there. Um, you may be asking, well, how do I know if this is a heavily populated area? Well, what you're going to actually want to do is click right here, base map, and you're actually presented with different styles of map views here. So what I found is the most helpful using is the satellite view, because then you can kind of zoom in and see, oh, okay, there's houses here and whatnot. So, but for this tutorial, we're actually going to use the just generic map, because it's a lot easier to see the roads. So now you want to create your next point, which is going to be Soledad Canyon Road. So we'll type this, Soledad Canyon Road, and then save it. And just like before, you get the exact same thing. Okay. And the reason I did this as opposed to just going straight to the end is that we're actually going to create driving directions here. And you need to have multiple checkpoints to be able to actually move around the route. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and create another checkpoint, which will be, we want them to come down Soledad Canyon, which is actually a really picturesque road. You go through a lot of campsites. There's also a lot of areas here where they do movie filming, so you get to see some pretty cool stuff. So we want everybody to get to the Angeles Forest Highway right here, the starting. Okay, so now we got 4 checkpoints right now, and you'll see as now we're going to want to go ahead and get them to actually come down this way through the actual forest and then out through Villermo, which is really cool, picturesque area. The Devil's Punch Bowls here, really good hiking spots here. So now we'll go ahead and make another checkpoint, and we want this one to be right here. So you can zoom in, and that is actually Mount Emma Road right there. Same thing as before. And then another checkpoint, because we want everybody to come down right here to Big Pines Highway. Big Pines Highway. Okay, and then also too, you want to be mindful is you want to create stopping areas. So right here in the Big Pines Highway, this area here is generally used for like snowboarding and tubing and things like that. But there's actually a really cool NASA JPL facility that's right here at Table Mountain. So being that in the summertime this whole area closes down because it's only open for the winter, this is actually a really nice parking lot that you can actually stop and recuperate and get everybody, drink water, take pictures, things like that. So we're going to want to go ahead and put another checkpoint here, and we're going to just call this Table Mountain Stop. Okay, and then you could do the same thing as well, add pictures, things like that. So now we actually want to get into the main Highway 2 here. So what I like to do is just go ahead and kind of do it halfway in or so. And then we'll type this Highway 2, Highway 2, Angeles Crest Highway. Alright, cool. So now what we can kind of keep doing is just kind of keep the route going here. Keep going down. You can see this is Route 39 would actually take you to a different way of the Angeles Forest Highway, which this is also a nice road too, but for this tutorial purpose, we're just going to stay on the main part of the highway here. So they kind of keep going down, and then you'll see a break off right here that this actually leads into a campground. It's not a very driving friendly road down that way, so we don't want to send anybody down that way. But what we actually want to do is right here, the upper Big Tachunga, which is actually a really nice road itself. And so we'll go ahead and do the same thing. We'll type upper Big Tachunga Canyon Road. And like just like before, I said the CSUN map collection can provide, different historical maps, AAA road guides, things like that. That would actually be really cool in here to go ahead and see as you're driving around or planning the routes. Okay, so now we're gonna keep going with our checkpoints here. So now we want everybody to kind of go up Upper Big Tachunga and then come back down this way, and then back into here. Take the Side Forest Service Road. So we'll type this service road there, and then you can add little descriptions to. Um, Sorry for the misspellings. It's kind of hard to type and talk at the same time. So you can add little descriptions about the route, different historical facts, things like that. Would be pretty cool to check out. Alright, and now we'll get them back onto the main part of the highway here. Let's just go ahead and where the actual Angeles Crest Highway ends, which is in La Cañada Flint Ridge. Very nice area too. So we'll type in End Crest Highway. Okay. And then what we want to just go ahead and do now is that you'll actually see we have our entire route, well, our checkpoints all mapped out here. Now, one of the limitations of Google My Maps is that you're only allowed 10 checkpoints per layer. So what that, if you run into that issue, what you can actually do is just create another layer. Now, the only problem, which you'll see right now, that when I go ahead and click directions, is when you create another layer is that there'll be two A's and two B's and whatnot, and so sometimes that can get a little confusing for people that aren't as familiar with this software. So you can't really, there's nothing you can really do for that. You just gotta kind of let people know. So that's where it actually comes in, writing good notes, providing good directions for our users. So now what we're going to want to go ahead and do is go ahead and click our starting point here. So you can see it actually wants us to start from here to go back to Northridge, so we don't want to do that. So all we got to do is just go ahead and drag this like this, and then now switch. So our starting point now is CSUN, and it goes from here to the beginning of Little Tachunga. So now I'll just click add another destination, and then we click right here. Okay, so now you can see here, this is a problem. We don't want to go this way, we want to go through the canyon road. So all you got to do is come next to where your blue line is, click and drag, and you can move it just like that. And this is exactly why we created multiple checkpoints, because trying to move that through all these different little side roads would just become chaotic and frustrating for our users. So we're just going to go ahead and keep continuing. So just like before, same problem. So all we gotta do is drag our route just like that. Another destination here. Keep going. Another destination here. Keep going. And then right here. And then you can see everybody kind of goes right there. And then another one here. And if you actually do your checkpoints correctly, you don't have to adjust the route as much as you would if you just kind of did them randomly. So let's just go ahead and keep going. Our next checkpoint is down here. And everything is going awesome. Going around here. Okay, so here we go. We found another problem here. Now, naturally, Google My Maps is always going to try to find the shortest way from A to B. So all you got to do is, like I said, just keep on moving the route around, and you'll be okay. Okay, so now you can see we have a problem. Now we've already used from A to J our driving directions. So now we have to actually go ahead and create a new layer here. So we'll go ahead and click driving directions, click on our endpoint here, and then we'll see we have here. So let's go ahead and figure this out to our J. Oh, there we go. Okay, so just like that, all you have to do is you just click your next checkpoint, directions, and then it'll start exactly from where you left off. And you just do the same thing, just keep on going, and then back down to CSUN. So just like that, you see we've created a, oh, there we go. Okay, so now you can see we created our entire route right here. We also address a limitation in the software, and now you're actually able to export that to any of the number of users. Now, what the CSUN map library can actually do is they can export these routes on their website to users. They can title this Angeles Crest route, and then provide descriptions, some historical data, things like that. And then they can actually share this onto their page directly, which users would then be able to download onto their Gmail accounts and their mobile devices and actually utilize the route that the library has actually created. Now, the library can also do this for not just for Angeles National Forest, but Malibu, Topanga, which are very popular roads. You see these a lot in car magazines, things like that. You can also do, this area, Ventura, um, and so on and so forth. And they can actually, this is actually a really good way to connect members of the community with the actual map library itself, because you can promote materials in your collection, and also it just gives the community another resource that they had actually never thought about themselves, you know. So overall, I think this is a very good tool for the CSUN map collection to actually use to promote the library, because in my interview with the map librarian there, he said one of his primary duties as the map librarian is actually promoting the collection itself, as opposed to answering research questions and things of that nature, cataloging and whatnot. So this is a very good promotional tool. It's very cost effective. It's not expensive to use. It's, all you really need is a Gmail account, which all the CSUs have Gmail accounts and everything like that. So I would definitely highly recommend for car clubs to actually use this software, but more importantly for the CSUN map library itself to actually utilize this to create new connections with the community. I do know at the CSUN campus there's two car clubs very active in there. On the campus, I can actually go to the map library and can create relationships and see historical routes and try to pick routes that aren't as popular, and that are not in the mainstream. So overall, this project was really fun to do. It was interesting thinking of one of my hobbies and passions is automobiles, and how can I actually connect that with GIS resources. And so this actually made me think outside of the box, and it was really fun to do. And I hope you guys actually enjoy this and get the chance to actually check it out, experiment with some of the different things that you can actually do. There's different measurements, distances, you could draw lines, all kinds of things. It was really fun. Um, but yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation, and thank you for your time.